Hello, hello, hello.
Hi.
We're live. There's already two folks watching. That's pretty cool. We have Blue who's here.
Hey,
Thanks,
Blue.
Blue. You're always tried and true there, coming to my streams. I know you're a Text Trek person, Blue, but I'm glad that my channel is also on your roadmap or radar. So nice to see you. Welcome. Happy. Today's Saturday, right? Saturday night.
Yeah, yeah.
It's Saturday night,
Yes,
Kevin.
stay URGY. Night.
We are on Starfleet After Dark, and you haven't been on this channel in a long, long time. So
I know.
tonight you're the return of the Kevi, and I'm Star Wars boy for the evening. I will say my knowledge of Star Trek is a lot more extensive and readily available to my brain than my knowledge of Star Wars is. I'm really good with the films and like the most of the TV series and everything like that, but other than that, I don't really like the expanded universe. There's a lot of stuff that I don't know about, so I find out from like talking to folks who've read the books and then also just like watching stuff online and stuff. But
When we used to discuss Mandalorian on Drunk Space, uh, I learned a lot from you. I think your knowledge is pretty good of Star Wars. Like, I'm planning on learning some stuff tonight.
Thank you.
So,
Well, I learned a lot. So like we couldn't we had a little mini segment, Starfleet Boy After Dark, the regular Friday night program. We do a variety of different things. So we did touch on because a bunch of folks saw the Book of Boba Fett, and even though they knew we were doing this full discussion today, they were like, "Well, let's talk about it." So I was down too. So I learned a lot last night. Like
oh, cool.
there's a cool guy, Dom Paris. I don't know if you know who he is, but he comes
Tom
back.
Paris.
Dom, but it's Dominic, like Dominic, but like Dom. Yeah. So he comes on
Does
the
he acknowledge
chats.
that his name is so close to Tom Paris?
Yeah, it's on
Oh, okay.
purpose. Yeah,
Oh,
it's
okay.
totally on purpose. Like his name is Dom, but I don't think Paris
Oh,
is.
okay.
Yeah, I think Paris was the part that he
Well, that's a great
added.
name then. I'm
Yeah,
jealous
it's a
of
really
that.
cool name. But he popped in the chats last night and gave a ton of cool information from the expanded universe. And Fadri also has an extensive knowledge, so we got some of his information as well. So I'll be able to give you some interesting stuff throughout
Cool.
the
I'm
evening.
excited.
And Jude's here. Yay, Jude. Hey, hey, Jude. Good to see Kevin is back. Yay! You've been.
Yay!
I thought people forgot who you were. No, I'm just
I,
kidding.
I I would expect everybody to.
So tell us what's been going on. As far as like I guess the last time you were on Starfleet Boy After Dark was probably like a while ago, like back in the summer or something like
Yeah.
that. Um,
Um,
Catch us up a little bit. What's been the highlight of your 2021 as far as like a cinematic or television event? Like, what was something that you really enjoyed?
um, I've just been. I mean, lately I've been just going back and watching a ton of Voyager and um, a lot of DS9 and TNG. Just all that. I know there's significant shows. I'm just drawing a blank right now. I don't know. What are some shows that have?
Well, we had all we well, are you're what was the you said you've been watching Teen G and
Yeah, yeah. Um,
so you
just
haven't
kind
really
of every
I guess you had
night.
all the
Just
Marvel shows. You had like Falcon and the Winter
I didn't
Soldier.
watch it.
You didn't watch it? Oh
I
my
kind of
gosh.
fell. I kind of fallen out on the Marvel stuff. I tried watching Hawkeye the other night and realized 30 minutes into the episode that somebody that I'm sharing the account with must have been watching it also. So I was watching episode 4, thinking that I started, and I was so confused. So I stopped that, and I was like, "Oh, I'm going to go back and start from the beginning," because that is I believe it's based on, because of like the Kate Bishop character and everything. It's based on the Matt Fraction run of Hawkeye, which I really liked. So I'm excited to watch that. I'm just a little slow on getting into
And
everything.
did you watch WandaVision or Loki?
I watched a couple episodes of WandaVision, no Loki. Like
Oh
I
wow.
said, the Marvel stuff is sort of escaped me. I mean, I did see Spider Man, but
You saw Spider-Man
yeah,
No Way Home.
yeah,
What'd you think of that?
I loved it. It was
Oh,
great.
cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. Yeah, I loved it too. Well, but we're not here to talk about
Yeah.
Spider-Man
Um,
No Way
I don't
Home.
know. I don't know what
But
else.
still, I was curious about what you caught up with. So, I mean, I guess was Mando season 2 this year also at the beginning of the year?
I think we've talked about all that.
No, I know,
That.
but that
Oh
was
yeah.
something you
Uh,
saw too, right?
yeah. Oh yeah. Definitely.
So, and
So that
then
would be probably my highlight. I mean,
what about
uh,
the Bad Batch? Did you watch the Bad Batch?
no.
Okay. I'm not finished with the Bad Batch. I fell out of my loop with the Bad Batch, so I have to go back and check it out. Jude or Blue, have you guys seen the Bad Batch? Let us know because I'm curious if you like the way it ended. But I didn't make it. I heard some really good stuff happens, and there is a connection to Boba Fett in it, so which I didn't get to that part yet, but I kind of figured that was where it was going. But
Uh,
yeah, I guess
yeah. I
that's the
mean,
only new Star Wars that was out.
I watch a lot of just older stuff. I'm never quick. Like I just started watching Breaking Bad. Like I think we talked about that.
Yeah,
That's one of
totally.
the last things we talked about. I think. Um, yeah, I'm just really slow with that stuff.
That's okay, Kevin. You don't have to
I'm
catch up
excited
on.
about Picard, and I'm definitely
I
excited
know.
about the Book of Boba Fett.
Well, let's get right into it.
Yeah.
Today's discussion. Oh, let me put up the little spoilers thing because I always forget to do that. But today's discussion is spoilers. Let me put this thing up. Spoilers for the Book of Boba Fett. So unprofessional. I'm here like typing. I should have had this ready.
Jude said they'd never seen or never watched a Star Wars cartoon before The Bad Batch. It was fine. The end was decent.
Oh, okay, cool. All right, cool. So yeah, I'm looking forward to catching up with it. But just it was fine.
Did you
I
feel the
guess.
same way?
Yeah, I guess. Well, since I kind of was starting to watch it, and then other stuff came out. I can't remember what, but I lost track of that show, and I haven't gone back to it. So, um, oh, Dune. Did you see Dune? By the way,
I
just out of
didn't.
curiosity, you didn't see
No.
Dune either. Oh my
No, I
gosh.
wasn't. I don't even remember. I saw the first Dune, the original, when I was a kid, and I haven't watched it again. I don't think it really. It got me. It didn't really. It wasn't one of those movies that, as a kid, like really, excited me. But I've been meaning to go back and watch it. Like I said, I'm slow with that stuff.
Well, I like that we're you pick and choose, and so I'm glad
Mhm.
that the Book of Boba Fett was on your must sees, and that we're here
Yes.
to talk about it. So it's okay. You don't have to see everything I watch, Kevin. I was just like it's fine, it's fine. So let's talk about this. So what did you expect? And what was like, let's talk about your expectation for the Book of Boba Fett, because after the Mandalorian season 2 we get that nice little post credits sequence where he comes in with Fennec Shan, and they kill Bib Fortuna, a legacy character.
Yep.
So they just like they off him right there, and on screen he's dead. And then he replaces him. So like after that, what was like going through your head as you can recall?
I think just I was excited for for it. I really went into it thinking it was going to have the same feel, the same mood as Mandalorian. I was really excited. Um, and I think I had told you like in the first episode, it took me a little bit. Like I had to warm up to it. At the end, I was a little bit like I don't know. I don't know how I feel about this. It's not Mando. It's not quite the same show. And then just as I like sat on it for a little bit and just was thinking about it, I was like, no, it was really good. Um, and then the second the second chapter just blew me away. But yeah, I try not to have really high expectations because I don't like being disappointed. But I was excited. Um, I kind of expected it to go the way that it went, though. Like give a little bit of backstory. I didn't realize all the like Tusken Raider stuff, like all the flashback stuff. was going to be
Mm-hmm.
in it. I don't think anybody. I don't know if anybody expected that. Um, but that was, I mean, that's to me the highlight of the show so far. I love that stuff. Um, and that was just really really neat to give a backstory like that.
Yeah,
From
we're
like
getting
when he escaped from the Sarlacc pit and everything. Like
like
it just
his. It literally picks up. I think fans have been waiting a long time to see the moment of like to kind of fill in the little gap of like what happens to Boba Fett after. How did he get out of the Sarlacc and and like what happens? But yeah, here's the did the wrong screen thing. Hold on, there we go. Here's
yeah,
the iconic. The iconic one. I'm sorry, there's these like menu things at the top. I don't know how to get rid
yeah,
of
that's
them,
fine.
but it's all right. Yeah, I guess it looks like we're doing a keynote presentation in a college or something like that. Oh, cool. We have Ruben saying hi, and
Hey,
we have
Ruben.
Braxton. Hey, what's up, Braxton? Braxton was talking about this with us last night. So Braxton, I hope you're not bored listening to this all over again. Um, and then Blue just keep watching Prodigy. It's miles better. Yeah, you should check out Prodigy too, Kevin, if you haven't watched it.
No, I haven't.
Jude also agrees. The Tusken Raider plotline is my favorite thing too, and yeah, it's I think so. Also, I mean, it's just really interesting how Star Wars has taken these characters that were just like very two dimensional before, like as bad guys, I guess. Like the Tusken Raiders were just like shooting at everyone basically and
Yeah,
screaming
yeah,
and stuff like that. And the Jawas were just like little scavengers, and both the Mandalorian and the Book of Boba Fett takes us to a whole new gives us a whole new dimension on those characters, and it's really doing a nice job, I think, of like actually it's humanizing the Tuscans so much that I hate Anakin more for killing the whole tribe of them. But anyways, going back to the Sarlacc pit for a second, we had this gross stomach thing sequence, and there was like this dead stormtrooper who
I love that.
I like to think that might have been a clone in there, like because they did wear this like outfit at some point, or this armor at some point, I should say. So it'd be funny if there's already there's already a Boba Fett, a Django clone rather, I should say, in there. But yeah, he gets out of there. I also like before that when he's when he's in the Bacta tank. I really appreciated those little dream sequences he has because it takes you back to the Attack of the Clones, and I thought it was like just great, like the atmosphere, the way they. I mean, I guess they must have like either they recreated Camino or they must just have all the meshes still available or something. But it was really nice to just see glimpses of Camino and what Boba Fett remembered about growing up there and stuff like that. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, you had texted me that the scene with him as a kid, like holding the helmet. Yeah, you're like, I forget what you had said, but you're like that, like gave you the feels or whatever. Like that's a definitely those movies. The prequel movies are, kind of. I mean, I saw them. I think I saw them all, like in the theater. But they still like. I don't really. I'm not that well versed on those. Like I know the story, the basic stories and stuff, but I don't think that meant as much to me. Like like that's why I think the first episode was a little bit like it took me a little bit to get into, but now that we're into the story,
It is really
I'm
neat. It is really neat that we're gonna get some. I guess we do. I found out. I didn't remember, but yeah, the Clone Wars had like younger Boba Fett stuff in it as well. But it is neat that we're gonna get. I think we're gonna get more backstory. It's a shame that it's a shame that like the prequel films are not as loved maybe by some a portion of fans. I love them. I think they're neat. They're not the Star Wars I expected, but I think they're neat. And one of the good aspects of the prequels was the introduction of Jango Fett and the idea that Boba Fett was his clone and that he wanted to raise him as a son. So he paused the accelerated growth thing and decided to raise him as a son. And then it's just tragic that like Mace Windu beheads him like so callously, coldly, which you know you die in the line of battle or whatever. But then there he is. There's the start of Boba Fett. We see it right there. You know his
Yeah,
origin in a
yeah.
way is like as a ruthless killer, bounty hunter and killer because all he saw was that. Like he loved his father. You could
Hmm.
tell he's very devoted to him and stuff like that. They had a lot of fun together. Like in the one sequence where they're chasing Obi-Wan Kenobi in the asteroid belt or in the rings of the planet. You know, you could tell he's like giggling. I mean, like it's a little diabolical that they're like shooting at someone, but you know, he's like giggling, he's having fun. He's like, "Yeah, dad, awesome job." And then, you know, all of a sudden his dad's gone. But then the mystery is like, what did he do in between? Like, you know, where did he end up? And we know he ends up with some other scoundrels and space pirates and stuff like that. So, yeah, it's pretty cool that they're like throwing these little bits in. It is a little reflective of the Mandalorian, like how we were seeing Din Djarin's. Is it Jin? How do you say his name? Anyways, you see Mando's past in a similar way, where you know he's a youngling also who's an orphan. So it is interesting that there's like a mirror or a parallel between those two.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I think this is making me want to go back. I remember Phantom Menace pretty well. I liked Phantom Menace. But um, and it's making me kind of want to go back and just watch them all again with just like putting years, in between me and seeing them. Like I think I could probably enjoy them just fine
My
now. You know.
I've always wanted to do a watch long series, like a fan commentary. So if when I kick that off, maybe you'll come and join us for that. That'd be
Yeah, that'd be
nice.
great because I really should go back and watch them
And it'd be
since
fun to just like talk about it since maybe you didn't appreciate him like as much. Someone who loves them maybe can like give you a little different
that
perspective
always helps.
on it and
Yeah.
stuff like that. So it might be fun to do that. Cool. All right,
Like when
it's a
you go
date.
to a movie with somebody and like or when you see like a comedy in the theater and everybody's laughing,
Laugh
it's just
exactly. It's
yeah,
like you kind of yeah exactly. So anyways, the next thing is we have Boba Fett breakout of the Sarlacc, which was cool.
covered
And
in
then
goo.
yeah, and he's just like totally exhausted. And then we get the Sand People come in. Wow, we get a lot of these lately. We've been seeing, and I saw these on Robbie's channel too. We get these like Russian-looking bot type things that are
Is
putting
that bot?
spam.
I was wondering.
Yeah, I
Yeah, that's
apologize, audience. I think it's a bot. I just keep blocking them, but I apologize, audience, for that. Oop,
or
an
it's somebody
error.
desperately trying to like say hello, but there's a language barrier.
Block user. All right. Um, this reminded me also in the Phantom Menace when the Gungans are emerging from the fog on those horses, kind of like that was kind of a cool thing visually that they were doing, but also just classic kind of visual tropes that you see a lot in kind of just deserty types
Westerns. It's a big
westerns,
western
yeah,
thing. Yeah,
desert movies, like western things, yeah, like
the
emerging
dusty
from the
approach.
dusty, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And it's beautifully shot. The show doesn't disappoint as far as like production value is
Mm-mm.
concerned. There's like things that are just so high quality, like as far as the production's concerned, so
There
I really
was
appreciated
the
that.
in chapter one. There was the scene when he uh he's running, and he gets taken down by the what's the dog thing called? The
Oh yeah, yeah, I forget what it's called. Hold on, let me I actually had a note. I had some notes written. If someone in the audience knows off the top of their head, but yeah, the
but
little dog beast thing. Yeah,
yeah, when it takes him down, and then they do they come up, and it's like nighttime.
it's a massive. They're
Oh, is that
called
what it's called?
massifs.
Oh, that's cool.
Massif. Massif.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's cool. Um, and he has his first fight with the Tuscan warrior, the cool one in black, um, which we'll talk plenty about because
Mm-hmm.
that character's amazing. Um, but the production on that, like, did you notice the lighting was really weird in
Oh,
that?
how do you mean?
Like in that first fight, like I don't know if you have a screenshot of it.
Oh, I meant to start with this. Sorry, my screens are all out of order. Well, okay, so
So
well,
it's later it's nighttime, like right around this point. Yeah.
I don't think I took a
Oh,
screenshot of
okay.
it. All
Just
right,
there's
sorry.
it was really weird. Like I had to turn out a light to see it right.
Oh yeah, it is dark.
Yeah,
I
it
guess
was really
yeah,
weirdly lit,
I I
but it was
watched
kind of
these things
cool.
and yeah, it was kind of cool. I think they're using this AR wall technology, and they're using the light from the wall to light a lot of these scenes, but it looks
Oh,
realistic. I think it's really
it
cool.
was
So it's
neat.
like
It was definitely
yeah,
neat.
so those night shots might have looked odd because they just look so good.
Yeah.
Because excuse me, they look more like how they might look on location. But you're right, it was extra dark. But I tend to watch these things like in almost total darkness, not like complete darkness. But so for me, I kind of the
You
screen
probably saw
probably
it
was bright
popped.
enough.
It probably
Yeah, yeah.
popped. Yeah.
But yeah, so we meet this little kid. Before all that, we meet this little. I guess when they tie him up and they bring him back to the Tuscan village or camp or what encampment or whatever it is, we meet this little kid and immediately there's like a not a bond, but like a I guess a
An
like a
interest
an
between the two. Yeah.
interest. Yeah, like Boba Fett, Boba Fett's like at first just like okay whatever, but the kid starts out like beating him up,
Yeah.
which I thought was like really brutal. Like he and the other kids were beating him up. The other thing I like about this whole Tuscan thing and the Jawas too is that like all the actors kind of have to it's like almost like silent screen acting,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
since we don't hear a lot of it has to be in their like gesticulations and like their movements and just their overall choreography and stuff like that. And I really love it. I think this is not only consistent with what we've seen with Sand People or Tuscans, but also just like again expanding on that. And we saw that in Mandalorian with the sign language, but here they don't seem to use it as much. The sign language they do use it occasionally, but
I
these
feel like
Tuscans
he
are
uses it. Boba uses
Boba
it
was
more.
using it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of like in the originals, I mean, to me, a Tuscan Raider is just like, "Rah," like, but I really like, I love the acting style. Like you said, like it's all done through body movement. It's like all just beautifully choreographed.
Yeah, I agree. Jude was saying earlier, can we get some Gungans in the new show already? And I agree. We need to get a Gungan. Maybe Boba Fett is the show that will bring it to us. Braxton's like the Tuscan kid was hilarious. Wonder what they look like. Yeah, I don't know if I ever want to know. I kind of love that. I kind of think of like they're very weird, right? Like
But
they
look
wear
at
these like things from like childhood, I guess, in a way, and
I don't
like
know, like their hands and in the rest. I mean, there's
they're very
I,
humanoid looking.
I'm wondering if they are human.
Well, they're humanoids of some kind,
Yeah,
but yeah,
I mean, just like I don't
they're
know if they would have given Boba like a mask. Like I would just think that they were just humans that like, and that's a way to hide from the sun and
oh yeah,
the
that makes sense.
sand, like just a protection, But then their language and the way they talk, or not talk, but like grunt and everything. It's like, I mean, they're not humans, but
Oh, oh,
I do
oh.
wonder what they look like. I'm wondering how similar to just a basic human
Human.
they look.
I hope we never find out. I think there might be something in the expanded uniform universe. Like there might be something, but I'm not sure. I actually never wanted to look it up. I don't want to know what they look like. I love the Tuscans are a mystery. What do you think of this guy? I guess the
The
chieftain or
commander
the
guy, yeah,
commander. Yeah,
the
the
chief.
chieftain. I would say. Yeah,
He's
yeah.
awesome. I love him.
He's badass. I like his like
So subtle, just nods, just walk away. Like,
and
he
even
says so much just
and
in
even
these little
like
movements.
yeah, and even like I think I agree with that, and I think even just like he doesn't stand out too much from the other Tuscans, but like there's enough like
He's
pageantry or like
broader.
yeah, it's like there's a little bit more wisdom or like prominence to his presence.
Yeah.
And then we also get this character in the background here, the female
Yeah, she's the
Tuscan.
best.
And I
I don't
can't
Are we
tell what
supposed to know at this point she's a female? I mean, I know the actress is a female.
I
Uh
believe that she I believe that she's supposed. They haven't said it, I guess, because we don't really know. But I think they're giving us enough contextual clues to say that yeah, she's a female
Yeah,
Tusken.
she's my favorite so far. My favorite character.
Yeah, she's a badass character.
Yeah,
She's really cool. I thought it was neat how like both so she must be like his right hand or consort or something. Like there's a relationship there
yeah.
because they're always kind of together, and he kind of like she's kind of like obviously she's at least the lead fighter. Like she's their lead warrior, if you will.
I feel like she's like his Fennec. You know,
Right, exactly. That kind of
there's kind of like a
vibe.
parallel between the two.
Oh, that's
Did you
great.
look? Did you look that actress up?
Yeah, she's a stunt person, I
She's
think,
done like
right?
everything. Yeah,
Yeah. By the way, we were honored to have the stunt person for Mandalorian
I
on
know.
Starfleet Boy
I
After Dark.
heard.
That was so
Yeah,
cool. I guess we'll ask Evan what for updates about him, but he's very
yeah.
cool. Oh my gosh, forgive me, I forgot his name. He's a Wayne. He's related to John Wayne, so I forget what his first name is. Damn it! Darn it! Oh, bad Sohail, bad Star Wars boy. If Son of Dennis is listening, chime in and let us know. I want to say Bruce Wayne, but it's not. It's like
Thomas Wayne.
here. I got. Hold on. You know what? I'm not going to be a bad host. I'm going to look him up. It would be Brendan Wayne. Thank you. Sorry, Brendan. We loved having you on. Come back. That was really nice. You guys should get him on Drunk Space 9. That would be fun. So they tie him up, and then they're keeping him captive, very similar to what we saw with Anakin's mom being tied up in Attack of the Clones, but also not as brutal. I feel like they're at least. I don't know if they're giving these guys water, but at least they're outside and they're in the fresh air, and they're not just like they don't seem to be beating them. They're just tied up.
Yeah,
But I wonder what their purpose for them is, other than later to go dig those water
that might be it.
things. That might
You
be
know?
just it. It's like
Yeah,
just extra labor or something
yeah,
like that. But we get this Rhodian character. I love Rhodians. I think they're very cool.
yeah. He was such a jerk.
Why? What happened? What?
When when he's like, "I'll untie you," and he's
Oh yeah.
and he
That
told
was
on
real.
him.
Yeah, that was funny. That so Boba Fett definitely breaks out of his bonds, but this Rhodian's just like whatever. I'm not gonna do it, and then he rats on him
Yeah,
too, and then we get the massive scene where Boba Fett attacks him, knocks him out, kind of gives him like a little nice little pat, and then runs off. But then he wakes up and he goes and he chases Boba Fett, and they have that like fight scene in the scene that you had mentioned
yeah,
at night. So we get this like we just get the beginnings of his like time with the Tuscans, and then we're back to the palace, Jabba's palace. Now it's Boba's palace, I guess, and people are paying tribute to him, and we get this character. I forget what their species is called. Also, hold
I'm
on.
not sure if I ever knew what they were called.
I know what they're called, but I forgot right now. Hold on. Star Wars species. Here we have there's an actual like chart online that you can look at. It's like that shows everyone. Does anyone in the audience know what this guy's species is? I always forget. I'm really good with the Star Trek species, but Star Wars. Let's see. He is a. I think he's an Ish Tib. Or he might, yeah, he might be an Ishtib. No, he's not an Ishtib. What is he? Well, anyways, he's in A New Hope. These guys have been in since A New
Yeah,
Hope because Doctor what's his name, and Panda Baba here. That's what I should look up is who it is. Panda Baba. So Panda Baba, who I think is the same species or a similar species as him, Ponda Baba, I should say.
how dare
And
you?
what's that?
I said, "How dare you?"
How dare you? Although Pondo Baba has like testicle
I was
things
gonna say,
underneath, yeah,
yeah, they kind of
and
cleaned that up a little.
they either cleaned it. Yeah, they decided that wasn't a good look. Like they were like, maybe not for Disney Plus. Let's go with a different look. But if it is the same species, he's got Linus eyes. It's true. They're called Aqualish. That's what it is. He's an Aqualish.
Aqualish?
An Aqualish, yeah. Aqualish. I was trying to remember so badly, and I finally remembered. So, well, I don't remember. I looked it up, but yeah. So good on me for looking it
Good
up.
job.
But yeah, he offers some money, and then we have Boba Fett looking badass, and Boba Fett and Fennec looking really badass on the throne. I love that they redesigned the throne and they put the Rancors on there that you see on the side, and it's all across the bottom as well. And then we get a. These are called
Gorn.
Thandroshans. Thandroshans, I think, or Tandroshans, or
I've
something
been
like
calling him
that.
Gorn.
Gorn.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. Uh, by the way, it was Doctor Evazin was the other guy, but these are Thandroshans. Thandroshans. Hold on, let me see if I can get this right. Let's see how it's spelled. I typed it. Lizard people from Star Wars. Here they are. Bosk was one of these, if I'm not mistaken. The character of Bosk, who was also a bounty hunter. And interestingly enough, Boba Fett said I used to work for this guy, so I didn't catch the name of the character.
Doc Strassi?
Doc Strassi. Okay,
Doc
so it's not
Strassi? Doc Strassi? Doc
Doc
Strassi?
Strassi.
Yeah.
Nice remembering
No,
that.
I have notes.
Thrandoshan
That's
warrior.
cool.
That's
That's
what
a
they.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah, Thrandoshan.
Trandoshan.
So, yeah, so I was close. I was saying Trandoshan or something like that. But anyways, yeah. So he comes along and gives tribute, and then we get the return of this guy who was the torturing robot. Remember from Return of the Jedi?
Yeah, and he's. Do you know who's doing his voice?
I know it's someone famous, but I didn't know who he
Yeah,
was.
Matt Berry.
So who is that? Who's Matt Berry again?
You watched the IT Crowd?
I did used to
He
watch
was
it.
one of the bosses. There was the first one who jumped out the window, and then the one after.
Oh.
I mean, he's been in a million things like Garth Marenghi's Dark Place, and like he's just a really funny British actor. If you
He
looked up his face, you'd probably recognize him if
recognizes.
you looked him up. Yeah,
He did a really good job at the voice because the voice was very similar to the Return of the Jedi uh, version of this character's voice. So I thought that was pretty cool. And I like how he was like he's into torturing because he was the torturing robot before he was torturing robots before. So I thought that was pretty cool.
yeah.
Jude says Matt Berry is the greatest, and to
Oh,
watch
yeah, yeah. Garth Marenghi's Dark Place is a amazing show. It's hilarious.
Is that like the opposite or a sequel to The Good Place?
No, it was an old show. It's just kind of an absurd British show. It's I think it's a lot of people from the IT Crowd.
Oh, gotcha.
I think it's all the same like production, or I mean the whole like that whole like crew of people, comedy troupe or whatever. It was really good.
Then we get this character who is the major domo for the mayor of Mos Espa, apparently. And he was hilarious. I love this guy's
Yeah,
whole vibe. I thought that was so funny how like flippant he was, and like you just like so like like he's just so smug and stuff.
yeah.
Uh,
He immediately pisses you off, but in a good way.
in a really good way. Yeah,
Yeah,
you're kind of like impressed too at
yeah,
his chutzpah or his gumption, if you will. It was like very very good. He's also a famous actor.
he's
He's
definitely
a
familiar. I'm not sure who he is,
yeah
but
he's famous for his sketch comedy type stuff. What is his name? Let me see if I can find him here. Doo-doo-doo.
oh yeah, Jude just brought up. You know who Richard Ayoade or Ayoade, I think is how you pronounce his name, from the IT Crowd.
Yes,
Um, he was the droid in Mandalorian, and now Matt Berry, who was on Garth Marenghi's Dark Place in Mighty Boosh, um, is the droid in this, which is cool that they're using like basically like friends and coworkers to play the droids in each show.
that is really
Yeah,
cool. Uh, So this is David Pasquisi or Pasquisi. I'm not sure how you say his name, but he's like well known as a kind of a um,
What's he been in? What?
well, the most recent stuff other than the Book of Boba Fett was like let's see, Latter Days, um, At Home with Amy Sedaris, I guess was a TV series that he was on. Escape from the Virtual Island, I don't know what that is. Lodge 49, Veep. He's been on a lot of
Oh,
episodes of
Lodge
Veep.
49. I watched that. That was
Um,
good.
let's see what else. He worked with Bobcat Goldthwait on Misfits and Monsters TV series, so he was in one episode of that. And he goes back. He's got a his career looks like it kicked off in 1987, so he's been acting for like quite a while. So yeah,
Yeah.
he's great. Uh,
I've definitely seen him in stuff. I mean, they don't put, it's not, he's not so made up that you can't tell who he is, you know?
Yeah, totally. Another Return of the Jedi highlight or callback was
The Gamorrean.
the Gamorrean guards.
Yeah.
I don't think we read Jude's comment here about Richard Ayade.
That's what I was talking
Oh,
about.
you were
Yeah.
talking
Yeah.
about, okay,
Yeah.
gosh, good, yeah, sorry, okay. But yeah, the Gamorrean guard come back, and I like these guys. I thought they were cool. They're a little
Yeah.
different. They're less rubbery looking. I mean, their heads still look like just like pig heads, but
I didn't even notice a difference. I thought they looked great.
yeah,
Um,
I loved the Gamorrean guards when I was a kid. Like I had the action figures and stuff,
mhm.
so there's like a soft spot. Like all these like Jedi Return of the Jedi characters actually are cool. I didn't notice that guy standing in the corner
Oh, yeah.
there, but he's interesting. He must have been their bounty hunter because I guess he walks in with them or something
He's
like that.
cool.
So yeah, he's pretty cool. But I don't
He's got
remember,
Borg technology.
yeah, like something like that. And then here's a shot of Mos Espa, which is gorgeous. Like I think that's pretty cool. Braxton last night came up with an interesting idea and was wondering if uh, they're like the more kind of like the affluent live inside the crater, and then like everyone else lives outside the crater to protect them from like sandstorms and all kinds of other things. And it kind of made sense. I thought that was like an interesting
Yeah.
observation.
Kind of a reverse, like
Fortress type,
medieval. Yeah.
yeah,
Like living above the town, looking
above the
down on
town. Yeah,
them. Yeah.
instead you're looking down. Yeah, it's true.
That's cool.
I also like, again, just going back to the production value, like this looks just like it could easily be in a feature film. Like it does not have any diminished quality, like as far as like a TV show is concerned or anything like that, where you think they're cutting corners. Like
You think that's
every
all miniatures?
no, I think these are like CG, but
You think it's CG?
yeah, I
It looks
think
like
this is
miniatures to me.
really.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, CG. I'm sure it might be CG, but if it's miniatures, it's amazing.
I think it's CG. I don't think it's
Okay,
miniature, but the CG is so
that's
good.
kind
Like
of a
you can
bummer.
tell, like with that.
So that's a little bit of a bummer. Like
Well,
I was hoping it was.
we'll find out when it comes out, but I'd be
Yeah,
surprised. That's what I'm saying is like I don't think they had the time to build a miniature, but like the CG rendering is just superb. It looks like I mean that's how good it is.
yeah,
Like if
yeah.
it
It
is
looks awesome.
CGI, which is my guess, um then it looks as good as a miniature. But yeah, like every building seems a little different. There doesn't look like they're not doing a lot of copy pasting or things like that, at least not
Yeah,
in a very obvious or noticeable way. Um Braxton says Mos Espa does look really beautiful in this shot, and I agree with that. And also, I think Braxton, you might like it because it has a little bit of a fantasy vibe, which Star Wars at its heart, by the way, is more fantasy than it is science fiction. It's more about the quest and the adventure and things like that than it is about exploration of space and science type
yeah.
stuff. So
I've
there's
had
more
that
of an
argument with
emphasis. Yeah.
people many times about fantasy versus sci-fi for Star Wars.
I think George Lucas himself uh, considers Star Wars more of a fantasy. I think that's where I got that notion from. But yeah, it's an interesting argument. So you're on the side of the fantasy, right?
Um, I used to defend it as sci-fi,
Ah, okay.
because just because like there used to be sort of a negative attitude towards sci-fi,
That's
and
true.
I used to throw that in people's faces because they liked Star Wars.
That's a
But
good
then
tactic. I like
then
that.
people would
Yeah.
say, "Nah, it's fantasy," and it's like, well, you know, now we can embrace both.
Yeah. Jude is saying, at its best, it's a very soft sci-fi. Yeah, I
Definitely,
mean,
yes.
yeah, I mean, there's like things like they, like there's technology and stuff, and they sometimes do go into explaining how it works, but oftentimes things are just magical. Like it's
Hmm.
not necessarily explained. This was a cool moment. I love the company Boston Dynamics, who is building these robots. Even though I'm scared of these robots, and I think they're going to be the end of humanity. It was cool to see the actual, like, these are the first actual droids in Star Wars that, like, they're autonomous. They function on their own, and you can kind of program them, which is probably what they did here. But I thought that was really neat to get like actual real life droids that are probably
Yeah,
inspired by Star Wars in a Star Wars presentation. So that was pretty cool.
very
Did you
cool.
notice that?
No, I'm seeing that. I'm noticing it for the first time. This is so cool.
But you recognize what they are, right? Like you've seen those robots.
In like in real life,
Yeah,
yes.
right on. And then who's this?
That's the what are they called?
The Max Rebo Band.
Oh yeah, and they're playing jizz.
Yes, they're playing jazz. They don't play jazz. They're playing jazz. It's true. Although this seems like Latin jazz, right? Like they see they seem to have evolved into Latin jazz, and I think that might be Figrin Dan and the modal nodes with him. So I feel like Figrin Dan and the modal nodes was from the cantina scene in
Hmm.
A New Hope.
Yeah,
And of course Max Rebo is in Return of the Jedi, but here he is. Both of them, I think, are there, which is pretty cool.
little duet,
Little duet
like a
where they
super
teamed
group.
up. Yeah,
They made a super group.
a super. They made a super group. Oh my gosh, what would that be like? ABBA and who else? That would be like ABBA and like Sting maybe or something like that. I don't know if Max Rebo's like Sting, but
There's kind of a Sting vibe going on.
that's really funny. Here we have.
David Byrne type thing. I don't
Oh yeah, David Byrne might be a good Max Rebo. Actually, the blue and all that stuff. So here we have Boba and Fennec come into this like bar, basically like a casino, if you will. They call it what, the pleasure palace or something. I forget what they called it later on, but anyways, they come in here and they're immediately greeted by Twi'leks, who are scantily clad in that kind of like Tatooine armor. She might be wearing the same type of armor Leia was wearing in Return of the Jedi, so it might be like a
know.
Tatooine. Should have done a better screenshot or whatever, but still, um, a lot of folks are excited because even if this is a production mistake, it's an interesting one. But Twi'lek males have actual ears, and then Twi'lek females have horns where their ears should be. And you'll notice that I think in other shots that we have. But this Twi'lek male, assuming that Twi'leks have genders like humans do,
Right.
has horns, so it could be the first appearance of a transgender character
Oh,
on Star Wars. And since Star Wars doesn't do things directly and kind of shies away from it or just puts it in the background, like they did with the the first gay kiss on Star Wars was just like
yeah.
way in the background, then it's very possible that this is intentional, but unclear. But I thought that was neat, anyways. And here's Jennifer Beals.
Wait, holy shit.
You did not realize that, did
No.
you? That is Jennifer Beals.
Wow, she looks
Yes,
great.
she does look great. Uh, what was like the last Jennifer Beals thing
I have
you
no
saw?
idea. I have no idea.
I think was she was in, what was it, Honey, right? I think that's
I
the
never
last
saw
thing.
Honey. Is
You
that
never
a
saw?
dance movie?
Yeah, it's totally a dance movie. It's
Yeah,
awesome.
okay. With what's her name? Jennifer no, Jessica Elba.
Oh, that's who. Am I mistaking Jessica Alba for
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Jennifer Beals? Oh my god, that's terrible.
Let's see who's
Let me go to her
Jennifer
IMDb
Beals.
page and see if I know who she is then, because I thought it was Jessica
Oh,
Alba. It's like, let's see here. Oh, the L
Flash.
World.
She was in Flashdance.
She was in
Um,
Flat. Duh. Oh my god,
yeah.
that's the most
Uh,
famous thing she was in. Duh. But anyways, yeah, she looks fantastic. She doesn't look like she's aged from Flashdance. It's crazy.
she was in Swamp Thing.
She was in Swamp Thing too.
Yeah.
Braxton's so ashamed. I lost my gay card just now that I mistook Jennifer Beals for Jessica Alba. Anyways, Honey's a good movie. If you haven't seen it, it's
I
very
haven't.
good.
No.
Flashdance was her second film in 1983. That was crazy. I don't think I've seen a lot of Jennifer Beals films. I should like go on a Jennifer Beals um, binge. That might be a fun thing to do. Jessica Biel, sorry.
Yeah,
No, it is Jennifer Beer. Oh my God, Starfield can't talk. He's drinking it. The wine's getting to his head.
I need more.
Braxton says she looks amazing, ageless wonder.
Yeah.
It's true. It's true. Um, then we have so in that scene, what did you think of just the overall vibe of that whole sequence?
I like the bar itself, like the
Yeah, the bar,
club.
just
I
like the
love it.
setup.
Love
How do
it.
you think these guys are going to come into play?
I think it's going to be a constant, like it's going to be revisited, over and over as kind of a meeting place. I mean, same as like Mos Eisley and everything, just like I just love the casual, like I just like seeing everybody just having fun and drinking like in this universe. It's just really, really neat. I I'm trying to think of like, I mean, it's not. I'm trying to think of like what it reminds me of, but I'm just thinking probably just like Mos Eisley, but
Yeah, it's a
um,
lot like the Mos
yeah,
Eisley spaceport. I mean, this reminds me a little bit of like it's a little fancier, this establishment.
yeah,
It's a little bigger. It kind of reminds me of like I don't remember gambling being such a big deal in any of the previous Star Wars before The Last Jedi. I feel like that was the first time. So it reminds me a little bit of that like that planet on The Last Jedi that they went to that was kind of like space Las Vegas or whatever,
yeah.
or space Monte Carlo, I guess would be more appropriate.
Where in was it? Wait, would you say Last Jedi?
Yeah, it was in The Last
Yeah.
Jedi.
Okay. Yeah, that's kind of. I was about to say the same thing, but what's the character's name who runs the place, or like is the
Oh,
main
oh, I think you're thinking of Maz Kanata. That was in The Force Awakens. The
Force
little.
Awakens, and then but they didn't go
You're right.
back.
It's got that Maz Kanata
Yeah,
vibe, but I'm
yeah.
thinking of like the gambling planet, kind of like the casino world or whatever. That was. Remember in The Last Jedi, Finn and Rose go there to find the guy who can unlock the shields or what
Oh yeah,
like
yeah, yeah. Yep.
yeah, that guy. And so yeah, they don't actually find the guy they were supposed to get, but they get Benicio del Toro's character instead. Then they go outside and they're ambushed by these guards of the Night Wind or whatever. I think that's what they were called, or the assassins of the Night Wind, who apparently work for the Hutts. And I just thought this was a really awesome sequence. I did wonder because like they come out, what were the Gamoran guards doing? Were they being fed
You see
after
them
all?
at one point
But
just
they took their
walk.
merry time to.
I feel like they I don't this is how I interpreted it, that they saw it coming and they went to the side because they just kind of took off to the left,
Mm.
like and I feel like they saw it coming so they could come from behind and like attack
Oh,
them.
I see. I see what you're saying. Okay. Well, they took their sweet time because they were
Yeah, they
taking
did.
quite a
Yeah,
bit of pummeling here.
they might have
Uh,
stopped for a snack or something, but
yeah, like, there
I
was
feel
some.
like they knew what was coming.
That might be the case. But all of these sequences are so good. Like, okay, so I think they're maybe filming on this AR wall, or it might be blue screen. I'm not sure, but you can't see like the matte lines as much, so that's what gives me the suspicion that they're shooting on the AR wall. But look how realistic the background looks. I mean, it looks like they built this town, and I'm very curious. I can't wait to see the making of, because like, did they build out all these buildings, somewhere, or are these like, maybe are they filming at Disney like on the like
I
on the
don't know. It looks
like, it
fantastic.
looks so good. Look at
Yeah.
how deep the city goes, and
Yeah.
like, it
That's
just
like
feels like
the
you're
chase
there.
scene in Fast Five
That's
with the
funny.
rooftop.
But yeah, look, I mean, like, you have like a lot of depth, and it's dynamic, and like it feels like, I know all of the, like, I know that you only need like a fraction of it. Like, maybe this is all that exists, right? But like the rest of this could be recreated with, like CGI and stuff like
Yeah.
that. but it's done really well. It looks so seamless and so beautiful, and also just this sequence was great, like the chase scene and the whole fight and stuff. Like I thought overall, with that like minor nitpick about the Gamorrean guards was really good.
I feel like anything behind the second tower, the small, like the further tower on the right, I think
I,
could just be a backdrop or like a
I think it's
CGI
even
ink
smaller
wall.
than that.
You think just these?
I think this is the only
Okay,
thing that like around this much might. I mean, we'll find out, but I think this much might be the only thing, or like maybe up to here or something like that, and then or maybe they
killing
built this whole thing and they just go around it, like because it could look different from different angles, and stuff like
yeah.
that. So who knows? But it is wonderful. I mean, I love like movie magic, so I love diving in and finding out how they did it, but I can't figure out completely. Like it's really done well. Then Boba gets injured, has to go back in the back to tank, and we get another more of the Tuscan stuff, and we see something that like kind of looks a lot like the Lars homestead in the Owen Lars and
Yeah,
where Luke Skywalker grew up, yeah,
in New Hope, yeah,
in New Hope,
yeah,
and a similar kind of vibe where like
yeah,
the people living there are being attacked and like brutalized in some way. So it's a nice, not a nice, but it's a reminder that Tatooine is like the Wild West in a lot
yeah,
of ways and pretty lawless overall. As if we didn't need more reminders of that.
yeah.
Anyways, Kid Tuscan Kid and his dog are kind of lazing about while they have Boba Fett and the Rodian I almost called him Greedo. It was Greedo and Rodian. Have the Rodian digging up for these like water. I call them water apples. I forget what they're actually called, but they're like they're. It's interesting how they like. I wonder how they absorb water and they're like conveniently collected in these little orbs, but I thought it was also funny that like the kids like bossing them around when Boba Fett could clearly like kick his butt at any point.
Yeah.
So it says a lot about Boba that he's like tolerating all this, I guess,
It's very patient with the kid. Yeah.
with a kid.
Have
Uh,
those water orbs? Have they come up before? What's
they were in
where
the
have I
last
seen those
season.
before?
They were in Mando, and I feel like we've seen them before in Star Wars, but they were in Mando. But I didn't get the impression that there was water inside them. It seems like whatever was in them, Mando didn't want to drink it or it was gross.
Oh,
Like, so I don't know if that's something you make. Like, how like they remind me a little bit. The ones in that reminded me of yerba mate. Like if you ever had mate drink, like where like you put a ton of mate in this little gourd, I guess, right? Like, and you drink out of that. So that's what it reminded me of. I thought this was hilarious that this kid's like so bold as to just like there's hardly any water around and here he is like he's just like spilling it on the ground to kind of teach Boba Fett a lesson or whatever. But then the Mastiff is back there like drinking it up, which I thought this was very cute, like and appropriate, and it's also kind of cool because like this is kind of a very human and funny moment, but like it's
that's a
totally.
great screenshot that you got there.
Thank you. And it's totally it's a very human moment, but it's totally alien, right? Like because it's like you have this like a Tuscan and a Rhodian and a dog beast
A
lizard,
massive.
like so. But it's very funny. This is a great moment. So cocky little Tuscan, and then all of a sudden the Rhodian digs up this like cool.
It looks like the final character. What's that in Street Fighter?
It's Street
Or
Fighter,
is it
yeah.
Street Fighter or
No, sorry, Mortal Kombat,
yeah, Mortal
right?
Kombat. Yeah,
Mortal Kombat, yeah. So it looks like him, but it also was reminiscent of those animation
the old like yeah, we're both trying to. What's the name?
Jason and the
Yeah, yeah,
Argonauts and
yep.
like stuff like that. What is the name of the
Clash of the Titans.
Clash of the Titans?
Yeah,
Uh, Ray Harryhausen, I
yeah,
think. Those are
yep.
like the Harryhausen style of animation. So I loved that about it. But yeah, he's a really cool design, and it didn't look CGI. If it was CGI, it looked like a. I'll be also curious to see if it's
It
stop
looked like
if they stop
stop.
motion,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Like I wonder if they actually had a puppet that they used for it. I mean, in some parts, it's definitely
Obviously, that's a cost.
a costume, yeah,
Yeah.
like a suit and stuff like that. Great moment also. And then, Boba Fett defeats him and then kid Tuscan runs into the village all look at what a badass I am, you know, like I'm sure he's like hyperbolizing and like
Yeah,
you get the impression that he's like, I did this like not, you know, like giving very little credit to Boba Fett or
yeah.
whatever. And all the other Tuscans kind of like gather around him and stuff like that.
I love that they knew to congratulate him and to like and just celebrate him, but it's obvious that Boba Fett did it. Like he got the respect that he needed, um, but they also like humored the kid and
Yeah, and we get that
really,
here in this
yep,
shot, which is I think the last scene, which is where the king or the
chief,
chieftain or
yeah,
whatever hands him his water gourd. He's like, "Here you go. You're allowed now uh, to drink from it." I think that kid might be his son. I'm not sure because there's definitely some kind of like they were watchful of him before in the other scenes, you
yeah.
know. So that might be the chief's son or something.
Do you think that Warrior is the mom? There doesn't seem to be much of a connection between those two, though.
They might be
Like,
though, because the warrior lady was also in that scene, kind of checking them out. But we don't know. I know we have what like 6 to 8 episodes of the season. I
I don't
think
even know.
eight.
Is it 10
I think
altogether or
it's
eight?
eight. I
Okay.
think it's eight. I'm not sure. I'll have to look it up. But yeah, that was a cool scene. So yeah, that I think that yeah that concludes Book of Boba Fett chapter 1, and so 30. It's only 30 like 8 minutes. It's not like a full length. I think the next one is like 50 minutes or something like that. So it's just like how Mandalorian started. It's the
Mhm.
same way. Like it just started like with 30 minutes. But overall, like yeah, I noticed the an audience. Please chime in with what you thought of the first episode. But overall, I noticed online the sentiment was like people were expecting. I think people were really expecting to get that kind of like feeling that they got when they saw Mandalorian for the first time, and they were a little bit disappointed that it wasn't quite as epic as that.
Yeah, I think I realized quickly that The Mandalorian was so special because we didn't have anything like it. We didn't have a Star Wars TV show,
That was live
in
action,
that it actually blew our minds, that they
right?
could pull it off. And it was actually, you know, not that I have had any problem with any of the Star Wars stuff that's happened in the past, you know, few movies or anything, but this was so special because it was just so good, and it was like, oh, I didn't expect the best thing Star Wars has done, in my opinion, to be a TV show.
Like the best thing since the original
Well, right,
trilogy,
right.
right? Yeah,
I
yeah.
just mean like modern,
Well, and I think that's part. I think you nailed it. Like we didn't have anything live action except for like the Ewok Adventure and the Caravan of Courage, like back in the '80s, and maybe you can count like maybe you can count the Star Wars holiday special or whatever.
if you want.
But like really truly, Caravan of Courage and the Ewok Adventure, those were like live action, and they were kind of filmed like to be like movies, and they had a quality to them. They had like a little bit of a bigger budget and stuff like that. But since then there's been nothing on TV in the live action world that has come close to looking like Star Wars on screen, on cinema, you know what I
Hmm.
mean? And The Mandalorian was perfect. Like I feel like they got all the right elements were there, like the way it was filmed, the style of it, like the pacing, like everything. You're right. It was very magical. It was
Yeah,
an epic experience. I mean, just remember losing my shit, like losing my mind
yeah. It came
over it.
out to me. It came out of nowhere. Not that I wasn't expecting it, and I wasn't like waiting for it. I just didn't think it was going to be that good, immediately.
Oh
So
man, you mean
yeah,
Mando?
yeah, exactly. I
Yeah,
was like,
yeah.
"Oh, cool, a Star Wars TV show is coming," but
I don't think
I,
anyone knew what to
yeah,
expect, and I admit I wasn't as excited about it. So I was like, oh, okay, it's a show about a Mandalorian. Like I was
yeah,
excited, but I wasn't like, yeah. When I heard about it, I was like, okay, it's not exactly what I thought. It blew my mind, of course.
yeah.
It was exactly what I wanted, but
Hmm.
not what I thought I wanted. So it was really cool in that sense.
And as
Um,
Braxton pointed out, it gave us Grogu, and that became just like a phenomenon. Like Grogu, like
Grogu's
the whole
ridiculous.
Baby
It's true.
Yoda Grogu thing is just,
Bonkers, right?
yeah, it
Like
was it
yeah,
was
it's like
just great. It was a adorable character that actually had like a use, like a purpose in the show. You know, it drove the story forward a lot more than like the cute characters that Star Wars has put in the past. You know, it
Right.
really, you know, it was like Grogu was a part of the story equally. You know, with Mando. So it was a perfect show. So I think going into this, I don't know what people expected, but um, I think people just thought, oh, we're gonna get right away. We're just gonna get another Grogu. We're gonna get this. We're gonna get, you know, it's gonna be that magic again right away. When it's a perfectly good show, I think it's by all accounts incredible. I think it's probably going to be just as good as Mando. It just we didn't know what to expect with the second. You know,
Yeah.
you want that like lightning in a bottle. You know, like
Yeah, no, I hear you. Yeah.
experience. You know,
I Blue here is saying I wasn't sure I'd be into Boba, but episode 2 got me. Yeah, I feel like a lot of folks episode 2 really
episode two is
really
incredible.
incredible, which we're about to go into in a second. But I just want to say for me, like I wasn't like for some reason I just wasn't comparing it to Mandalorian, and I always had like this like I do remember something that I thought about when the Mandalorian was announced, and when I first saw it, I was like, I wonder if this is gonna end up being Boba Fett. Like, you know, there was like a moment where I actually thought it could be.
Until he showed up. Yeah.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Like this could be it. Um, but I like that it wasn't, because it subverted that expectation. It turned out to be way cooler, you know, than I thought, and just expanding on the Mandalorians. Finally, you know, bringing in elements from, you know, all kinds of things, like, you know, when they you know, it like really brought in a lot about, you know, Mandalore and the planet, and like all these cool things that, you know, we're gonna get hopefully more of in season 3. But for Boba Fett, I didn't have any idea or expectations, and I think I purposely just didn't like read much about it, or like, you know, I didn't want to like hype myself up too much. And so I think the first episode just landed well with me. Like I wasn't like disappointed as some folks were. I was just like, okay, this is a good start. Let's see where it goes. But yeah, episode 2 definitely was like, oh yeah, my this is going in the direction that I really was hoping and I
Mhm.
like. So it's very cool.
Yeah. Um, I need to take a second.
Oh, okay,
I
cool,
need a
cool. Yeah,
refill.
yeah.
I'll be right back
Oh, right
before we
on.
get into episode two.
I'll entertain our
Okay.
audience for a bit while you do that. So while Kevin of Nine goes to get a drink, audience, and thanks for sticking with us, those of you guys who are listening. Give us a quick, you know, quick little some questions that you might have for Kevin or me, or let us know what you thought of episode 2 overall. Oh, that was very quick. That was very quick. I thought I was gonna be like tap dancing
Nope.
for a little while like here. So that was great. Your wine was on the ready to go.
The refrigerator's around the corner here. So
Well done. All right, so we get episode 2, and it starts out with another shot of the palace. By the way, you know that the do you know the little bit of trivia about Jabba's palace?
um, maybe not. I
Apparently,
guess not.
it's a monastery. You remember those spider guys that are hanging around that have like a little brain in a little tube in Jabba's palace? Like in Return of the Jedi, when the doors are opening, one of them's like scurrying along, and you
You don't
see
have a
one.
picture of that, do you?
I didn't take a screenshot because it's in the trailer, but hold on, I can
I can
find
look it
one.
up.
Jabba's palace, spider. Okay, so those spider droids are called
Oh,
the Bomar Order, and so this place is like a monastery. And what happens is the way they ascend is these robots cut when they like reach enlightenment or whatever. These robots cut their brains out and put them in this thing, so they're living
that like bulb
that
thing.
bulb,
Yeah.
yeah, and so they're living in that. So this is their monastery, and so Jabba just like took it up, took it over. He's just like, but I guess they don't care because they're still around. They're still hanging around there, and so they must not really care too
Huh.
much.
I did not know that.
Yeah, the Tatooine monastery. They still roam the corridors, apparently, which is true, and we see them in the trailer for the Book of Boba Fett. But yeah, we get this like shot of the palace from another perspective, and I like this because you can see like there's like this road that leads up to it. There's one in the back. It's pretty isolated. Like it, you don't see like Mos Eisley or Mos Espa anywhere in the background, so it must be pretty far into out there in the wilds of Tatooine or something. I wonder if anyone's drawn like a map of where all these
Oh, I'm
places are. I'm
sure.
sure there
I'm sure
is.
they
Yeah,
do.
and there's the iconic, the door that we get in Return of the Jedi and stuff like that. And it feels like again this could be a miniature, but it feels like they created this set, which is pretty cool. It could be a miniature, it could be CG. I think it's a
Yeah.
miniature or something like that, but who knows? And then here's the assassin. I like that they're questioning him, and the droid is like trying to say that like you know they they won't speak no matter what,
Yeah.
and then Fennec's like, okay, fine, then we'll just feed you to the Rancor, and all of a sudden he caves, and he's like, the mayor sent me,
It's like
which
it's
is pretty
empty.
funny. That was a really great scene. And of course that tracks because it would be empty, right? Because the Rancor died
Mhm.
in Return of the Jedi, so we didn't have any Rancor action going on
So,
in there.
can you help me with like timeline here?
Yeah.
Okay. So we have his escape from the Sarlacc pit, and then how long do you? How long do we know how long this like living with the Tuscans like was, and then this is post, obviously post like meeting with Mando, and because like Fennec is with him and everything. So it's like, what's our timeline here from like Jedi
So
from the end of
based on what we
from
learned last night on the discussion we had on Starfleet Boy After Dark last night, it's probably like 6 or 7 years after Return of the Jedi, because I think Mandalorian takes place like 5 or 6 years after Return of the Jedi. And so this clearly takes place after those adventures in The Mandalorian. So it's probably like anywhere from 6 to 7 years
Okay.
later. So yeah, it's not that far. I know that between Return of the Jedi and Force Awakens, there's a 30-year
Yeah.
gap. So this is filling in. So that's the cool thing, is the Mandalorian and Book of Boba Fett are kind of filling in the immediate like the aftermath of Return of the Jedi, which is pretty cool.
So Boba definitely was an older, like, I don't know, this is probably retcon now because we want the actor to play him and everything, but like Boba Fett was actually like an older person, uh in Jedi, like, because he's probably like, how old would you say, what's his name,
Tamura Morrison is
yeah,
like in his 60s
yeah,
actually, which
so
is yeah, he looks good for someone in his 60s. I mean, like he
definitely.
could pull off, I would buy that he's in his late 30s or 40s. Like I think I could get away with that. What do you think?
um I would say late 40s.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I would buy him as younger just because like warriors tend to get brutalized a little bit more and just like look older always. They're a little more,
Yeah.
whatever, but whatever. But I think he's supposed to be in his 30s or 40s as a
Okay.
character,
Okay.
because Father did the math last night. I can't remember what we came up with. But yeah, one of the complaints that Father specifically had, and I haven't seen anyone else really like say it quite like that, but some people are expressing that, is that like the Boba Fett character that they all kind of were expecting is what we got with the Mandalorian. So the Mandalorian was kind of like that classic Boba Fett, like some are describing him as like a Clint Eastwood
Mhm.
type of character, and this Boba Fett is definitely different, and like the actor is definitely incorporating some of the like tribal, like the Maori or like the indigenous peoples of Australia or New Zealand type of vibe. So it is it's a different take on Boba Fett, but I feel like it's subtle because I feel like even he's trying to do a voice that's similar. Like he's lessening his accent a little bit. Like I do think he's trying.
Is he Australian?
He's either Australian or from New
Okay.
Zealand. I can't remember, but he's definitely. I think he might be from New Zealand. But yeah, he's trying. I think he's doing something. But overall, yeah, it's a different. I mean, he's shorter. He's like wider.
Yeah,
He's
he's
not
got
as
that old like that like classic broad like
broad
uh,
chest. Yeah,
yeah,
like yeah. So
barrel
he's a little
chested like
different.
yeah.
I don't. It doesn't bother me. Like I liked the other Boba Fett character, but he didn't like. I liked the way Boba Fett was depicted before, but he was on screen so little that I feel like anything this will overtakes all of that,
Yeah.
and it's like you can easily kind of retcon and like make like explanations for
I
like why.
mean, I never read any of the now novels and stuff, but as far as like if you just take the original movies, like Boba Fett, you could let your imagination run wild. There wasn't that much
Yeah, there's a
that
lot
they
of room to
offered.
fill
Yeah,
in
yeah, yeah,
for yourself. And also I feel like being in the Sarlacc pit could have damaged. I mean, like you saw when he emerged from it, like he was all like swollen and like he was all like burnt up and scarred and stuff like that, right?
yeah,
And so it's possible that his voice changes, his physique changes because the swelling maybe never went away, or it could, there could be all kinds of explanations to explain that. Just from being in Sarlacc for a day or two,
yeah.
like being digested slowly or being exposed to those acids or whatever. So yeah, then he finds out it's the mayor and he goes into town and there's some more I just love the Thrandoshan's eyes, like this little
Yeah.
beady those beady eyes. And one thing I have to always give credit to Star Wars for that I see like both Star Wars and Star Trek do this, and it's like a tiny little pet peeve of mine, but I love that the hands are not humanoid. Like they're very like they look like reptilian hands. They're
Mhm.
thicker. They're like a different shape almost, right?
Yeah.
Whereas like I feel like in a budget saving way or whatever is to just put gloves on characters and like let them have their human hands or whatever, which is something that
Some of the tighter episodes of Star Trek always did that. Like,
did that. Yeah, it's
yeah.
true.
What are they called again?
The Thrandoshans.
Yeah, I feel like they are a very Star Trek
They look like
race.
the Gorn, right? Like they kind of
Yeah,
remind you of the
they
Gorn.
look
Yeah.
like the Gorn. They look little bit like what's they really in like they were really big in Enterprise. What's the
Oh, the reptilians.
yeah yeah the one that
The in
what's his
the
name like mated with one uh
what?
uh um uh
Someone mated with a
well
reptilian.
like well he like they had that whole thing. I forget if it was oh, Enterprises. I
It's a
shouldn't even
distant
talk about it.
memory.
Well, yeah, I mean, I watched it, but it's definitely there was the episode that I'll get back to it. But like he was pregnant or something. I feel like he got
Oh, did they
pregnant.
look reptilian? I don't remember those guys.
I feel
Yeah,
like yeah, they were like
they
Green
might
and
have been. Yeah,
Stanley.
yeah. They also look a little like the Silurians in Doctor Who, which is interesting. But yeah. And then here we have the mayor, whose name is Mokshaz. And he's a really cool character, apparently voiced by Robert Rodriguez.
So was um um
Doc Strassi.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, Doc Strassi was, and so was this character, yeah,
yeah.
Mokshai. So it's cool that Robert Rodriguez did that. By the way, also just Robert Rodriguez, I forgot to mention he's the director, and kudos to him. He's such a good director.
Yeah,
I love
especially with like
everything
the
he's doing.
Western feel.
Feel, yeah, it's true.
This
Uh,
character freaked me out though. The mouth, his mouth, like really bothered me.
on the side, like on the
Yeah,
side, like, and the hammerhead shape and stuff like
yeah,
that. Another character, by the way, from A New Hope that we've had since A New Hope, which is funny, but I think on the animated series in Star Wars Clone Wars, we do see them talking for the first time, and they have their mouths on the
yeah.
sides
I
and
couldn't
stuff like
wait for
that.
him to get off screen.
He's really like messing. He was really messing with you, huh? It's
Yeah,
cool. Like when someone runs the nails on the chalkboard type
yeah.
of thing. Like really, it's funny.
He was effective,
He was, yeah.
Yeah, but I was just like, I gotta get away from this guy.
I took the screenshot just because it's a badass moment when he's like, when he's like kind of like telling the mayor like what's what, right? And but also it's just a great shot of
Yeah,
Boba Fett. I also like that they changed the undergarments to black. Like they used to be like that white kind of, or like a off-white color, and now it's black. I think that suits him a
Very
little
cool.
bit more,
Yeah.
and I guess it's slimming, so it might kind of create an effect that's a little more slim or svelte looking for the character. But yeah, this back and forth was interesting, and then we find out another little twist and turn where it's like the mayor's like, why would I do that? Like these assassins work only in the Hutt territories, and like thanks, and he shoots him. And so he's like, yeah, if you want to find out what's up, go back to that Twi'lek, casino and ask them about what's going on. So he's like, I'm not the one who sent that assassin.
That's always such a cool power move when like somebody brings in a hostage and then the person that they're supposed to be like that's supposed to be their leverage and he just kills
Right.
them. I
They
love
just
that.
kill it's
Anything,
true.
anytime it happens in anything, I'm just like, yes, that is a badass move.
It was done really well. His guards were pretty cool, and they were having that standoff for a second, and it was
Yeah.
a very tense situation. It was very cool. So we're back in the casino, and I just took some screenshots of some of the patrons because I thought they were
That
cool, like this
that
bat
that yeah.
bat creature. The little robot casino droid is also the same as Star Tours. Like I don't know if you recognize him.
Oh my god, yeah.
Yeah, he's like the little droid from Star Tours, which is cool.
I love Star Tours.
I
Is
don't
that
know what
still
that.
around? That's not a thing anymore, right?
Oh yeah, it totally is. It's totally, at least here
Even
in
with the new
Florida.
park?
Yeah, yeah, and they've incorporated like the
Wow.
new like. It's still outside of the park. It should be in the park, but yeah,
Yeah.
it's pretty cool. We got this like goofy looking character. I like him.
I bet he's somebody.
Yeah.
Like somebody on the team.
And then here's another shot of that droid, but then we have that cool like green Nosferatu guy, and then
Yeah, very cool.
some other characters just lingering around. Like this is so cool. They did such a good job at this set, like in making it filling Star Wars. That's something that Star Wars has always done a great job of. Is like some of their aliens look really alien, and it's because they use puppets a lot, mixed with like suits and like other stuff. So Star Wars has always been strong, I think, as far as like their crazy aliens that they present.
Yeah, practical effects. I just we this is one of the, I mean, like savor it because it's dying. There's none of that anymore. That's one of my problems with Marvel is just that there's just no like. I feel like the skill, the just attention to detail that like practical effects give you like is just missing now. And when you see something like this, it's just beautiful. It's so much more real to me.
Yeah, you nailed it 100%. I agree with that too. Blue was saying, sorry, we fell behind on the comments a little. Totally look like the Gorn about the Thrandoshans, and then love the Star Wars aliens so much. Yeah, they have such a wide variety. It's very, very, and
Yeah,
the droids too. All the different droids. Some look like they're like junk parts put together, and some look like very sophisticated. Like it's just like that's something that's really neat, and I think it's cool. Like I'm not saying that Star Trek is lacking that, but I always thought it was cool that Star Wars had that like distinction over Star Trek. Like Star Trek has its
what do you
vibe,
mean? Like,
like the droids and the aliens. Like you don't have as much now.
I
You
was
see
I was
more.
literally just about to say this scene right here just reminds me of Quark's Bar.
Really?
Yeah,
Does it? I don't
yeah.
think so. I think Quark's Bar
Just
reminds me of the like of stuff we've seen in Star Wars. Like I feel
well,
like Quark's
I'm
Bar
just
was kind
saying,
of
like
like more
like
of
it
a
gives me
yeah.
that feel though of the different species together, drinking
True,
together, and
true,
you
true.
know when in some of the episodes of DS9 that they had a budget, to give us a few different
Yeah.
species and stuff.
Quark's Bar kind of
Yeah.
did this, but in a very Star Trek way. I think there's still a distinction. Like the vibe, like you couldn't see. I feel like you couldn't mistake the two. They just do such a good job at like Star Wars and Star Trek has always done a good job of being Star Wars or being Star Trek. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
they rarely look like each other.
But what I'm saying, like the just that vibe of like the interspecies like mingling thing.
Totally.
Yeah, I like that. Oh,
The huts appear. Oh, sorry. That's another
oh,
bad. Yeah. The huts appear. We get the huts. This is exciting because I think this is like the first appearance since the animated shows of and the prequel films of like huts. I think we had Gardola the Hut open the pod race in episode
Mhm.
1, but here they are. They're on their litter that's sagging in the middle, and it's
I
like
love the struggle of the people carrying them. You could watch their faces the whole time. Like, I know they weren't really obviously holding huts up, but they looked like I don't know what they were making them hold, but it was
It looks like they're under real duress,
yeah,
right? Like, yeah,
definitely.
it's cool. It's pretty funny. Yeah, this whole scene is just like beautiful. I do like the huts. I think they do look a little too CGI. Like, I wish they were practical. But we may still get that in close-ups in other scenes. Like, we might still get some practical
It's got to be hard to make a hut.
ones. It's right.
I
Java
want that. I
still
want
holds
that
up to.
T-shirt. It's hard to
It's
make a
got to
hut.
be hard to make a hut. It's hard out here for a hut. But yeah, this was a pretty cool moment.
I
So
mean, you teased it a second ago,
yeah,
but the next
we get
shot, I'm like,
yeah.
hell yeah.
I call him the Black Chrysanthemum, but he's like the Black Chrysanthemum, I think is the name of this character.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and he's actually a character that first appeared in the comic books, the more recent comic book series, I think, or like in the last few years or something like that.
The Marvel stuff or like the Dark Horse? I guess the
I
Marvel
think
stuff.
it
If
would
it's the
be
last few years, the Marvel
fears.
stuff
I think
is
it's
yeah.
the Marvel stuff. I forget the
Cool.
details. I was drinking last night. I'm sorry I didn't write those things down. But anyways, he is a character. You can hardly see it, but there's a scar above his right eye,
Can
and
you expand
apparently,
that? How do I
let me
do?
see if I can zoom in. There's a scar above his like right eye, like right over here. So you can see it's kind of messed up. If he's supposed to be symmetrical with his pattern,
Hmm.
this one's kind of like messed up. And that was apparently given to him by Obi-Wan Kenobi. So I'm wondering because I think Obi-Wan, the next series I think that we're gonna get after the Book of Boba Fett, if it's not Mando 3, it'll be Obi-Wan Kenobi. Because I think um they just finished filming on that. And so I hope we do see uh I hope we get some references to Obi-Wan Kenobi show in the Book of Boba Fett. That might be really interesting and really nice. Of course, we can't get references in the current timeline because in the current time period, but maybe there's like a flashback. Well, no, I don't think we will. I don't think we're gonna. I take that back. I don't think we're gonna see Obi-Wan. He's long dead by the time this takes place. So, but his scar comes from Obi-Wan. So maybe there's
Right.
something
Well, he
that.
looks kind of old,
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you get a
He's cool.
young, darker, like version of him, probably like a more like jet black sort of instead of so gray.
He looks scarier than Chewbacca. Like he looks more
Oh yeah.
intimidating, and like I love his armor. They just did a great job with this character, and I think fans of the comics were very pleased
When you
with
zoomed
how
in,
he was
the
realized.
character in his face it was so good.
So good. Also, Dom Paris pointed this out last night, but without even knowing that he's from the comic books, his introduction is just really awesome.
I
So
didn't know.
even
Yeah.
yeah, so even if you don't know, you're just like very interested in this character, and he stands out, and he kind of has like that prominence of like a character that means something, you know.
Yeah.
Well, and Boba Fett also mentions the whole thing of like, kind of giving a hint to a past adventure that they were involved in or something like that. But in the comics, they work together for Darth Vader.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. You've upset my sister. I took the screenshot because that little rat that he was wiping his sweat with was just hilarious to me. And in this screenshot, he's like screaming. The rat's like screaming. Like I felt so bad for this little thing. It's like ah,
Oh.
yeah, I know it's so sad. Yeah, those huts are not exactly the best characters, but it is interesting here. There's like a little stalemate. Boba Fett's not yielding his ground, and the huts are not like really willing to scuffle over it, I guess, and so they kind of retreat for now. Like they're kind of like a will see kind of thing. What did you think about all of this stuff? This
I love the
intrigue here.
scene. Um, yeah, I loved everything about the scene.
What do you think's going on? Like, what do you think they're setting up here? Like, where do you think this show's gonna go?
I think. I mean, I think they're going to retaliate. I definitely think something's going to happen.
Do you think they're the ones who sent the assassins? Or do you
I
think
that
it's
was
the
my
mayor?
assumption.
Well, why would the assassin say them? There's so many cool, like, yeah, you know what I mean. Like, there's the show's setting it up. I'm very confused, but in a good way. Like, I'm like wondering what's going on. But yeah, I'm not
Well,
sure.
yeah, but that's weird that they did come and like after that they came and talked to him and they seemed just like oh we have to talk and they seemed a bit surprised that he's like no this is my place now like this is my
Yeah, they're like, yeah, I don't know what their deal is,
maybe there's a
but we'll find
third
out. I
maybe
think they're
there's
here
a
to like settle up, or they're trying to take control of the operation or something. I'm not sure, but what were you gonna say,
I mean
Kevin?
maybe the assassins were meant to rough them up and bring them back to them and that's why they're coming to see them because that didn't work or do you think
Oh,
the
right on.
assassins were meant to kill them from the
I think
beginning?
they were meant to kill them.
Obviously, I mean if I'm saying assassins.
Well, yeah, yeah.
But
I
I
mean,
don't
you
know,
could
maybe it
send
was just like a scare tactic.
Fennec is also a master assassin, but she doesn't necessarily assassinate anyone. Bubba's
Yeah.
like alive. This is a cool scene, and again, showing the scale of. I like the. He's framed with his Gamoran guards, and then the huts are there framed with their warrior and stuff like that. It's cool.
I think it would take more than what, one, two, three, four, 10?
There's like
Is that
one,
10
two,
or
three,
how many are on the
four,
side there?
5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. There's 12 people
12?
holding the litter up. Yeah, you need like 20,
They look
right?
so heavy. Yeah.
Father said maybe they're from a low gravity planet. I
Hmm.
mean, or a high gravity planet, rather, I should say. Um, so that's that. Okay, so we get more flashbacks. Actually, I think the rest of the episode now is we don't go back after that
Right.
to the current time.
We
We
get
go
the
back to this
speed
flashback.
train stuff and all that. Yeah.
What's
Is that what it's
that?
called? The speed train? Or
Oh yeah, they called it the long speeder, but
the
yeah,
long? Yeah.
the long speeder. But here he is, Boba Fett, learning how to fight in the Tuscan style with the Gaddafi. I think they're called Gaddafi sticks, if I'm not mistaken. The sticks that they fight with, and he has like a little trainer, like a kendo, like how like when you're learning to
Like
do
the bamboo
yeah the
training.
bandu
Yeah.
katanas, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
like when you're doing kendo and stuff like that. So it reminded me of that a lot. And those kinds of martial arts. So here they are. That was a cool scene. And then all of a sudden they're interrupted when this train's passing by, and they kind of start shooting right away at the Tuscans and kill a couple of them. Actually, more than a couple. Like I think three or four or five might have died. It was crazy. And then I like this shot because it reminded me of Attack of the Clones when Anakin brings his mom home and she's kind of wrapped in a similar way, and he's holding her in a similar way. I know it's very dark, but you can kind of see Boba Fett's like holding this Tusken. But yeah, this was a cool, scene. And then we get Boba Fett goes back and he's like, he tells the chief like, I'm gonna stop the train. I'm gonna get the, get the the spoils for you. And he gets the idea because he sees those the same like bike gang, if you will,
Yeah.
because his swoops are like kind of like Harley's like hot, like that roadster
I
hog,
I love that
the
they use it like that.
yeah, the swoops. And then so yeah, he sees the biker gang and he gets an idea, and so then we go to Tashi Station. We finally see Tashi Station, which is so cool because it was mentioned in A New Hope, but we never saw it. There was a deleted scene, and so this was a cool little
Wait, when
homage.
was it mentioned in New Hope? Or are you
When
saying in a deleted scene it was mentioned?
it was deleted, the actual Tashi Station, but
Oh,
Luke is like, I need to go down to Tashi Station to get the power converters to Uncle Owen at one point,
okay.
and that's Tashi Station. That's where he's talking about. So we see Tashi Station finally on screen, which it's only been mentioned. And then these two in the deleted scene that they filmed for A New Hope, Luke goes to Tashi Station and meets up with Biggs Darklighter and a bunch of other folks. And these two characters are like background characters, and I can't remember their names at the moment, but they look exactly like the characters that they had in the deleted scene. So I think
That's
this is
really
an
cool.
homage in many ways to that. So that was pretty cool. But yeah, Boba Fett comes in and kicks some ass. Another good fight scene. The fight choreography is really good in the show. I think just as good as like the Mandalorian.
Hmm.
And I like that, you know, a 60-year-old actor. I can't do that shit, so I'm very impressed that Tamara Morrison's
Yeah,
able to like do that stuff. I'm sure there's stunt doubles, of course, but it's cool. So yeah, he beats up those bikers, he steals their bikes, and he brings it back to the Tuscans, and he presents it. He's so excited, and they the other Tuscans start taking them apart for parts, and that was pretty funny. You had to be like, no, 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 I'm going to teach you how to ride these things so we can go and do a train robbery, basically. Like so the
I
next.
yeah, that whole like this everything like I feel like is so heavily influenced by Robert Rodriguez and his love for like westerns and just like and then just like I feel like I don't know if who wrote this John Favreau wrote this
Yeah,
episode.
yeah, I think so.
I feel like they got together and he was just like oh I want to fight in a biker bar. I want a train robbery like scene and everything and just to
All
see
the
it
tropes, yeah, like the
materialized
Western type
in
tropes.
Star Wars way is so perfect, you know?
That's the neat thing about Star Wars, right? Like it's like on Star Trek when you go to a planet and you do a Western, it's a Western planet and it's like literally out of the
Yeah.
old West. But everything in Star Wars is very alien, but in a way it conveys those same vibes. Like Tatooine 100% does like that Western type of vibe in general, the lawlessness, like the dustiness, you know, like that whole thing,
Yeah.
but without like being an obvious like, you know, cowboy thing. So I thought that was very cool. You're right.
Yeah.
Uh, look at here's a nice side view of the swoops. It's amazing to me that they have these you know I know the way that they do these tricks, like they can just like key out like a beam or something that's holding
Mhm.
this thing up, but it looks so good. It looks like it's actually hovering, and I thought the scene again more comedy, which was really funny with the you know, where he's like, yeah, it's just like riding a bantha, like, you know, and he's like trying to convince them to ride this thing that, like, to them is like totally scary. It's like a mechanical horse or mechanical bantha, if you will.
I saw a
Uh,
guy on online did it with a mirror. He actually like put his leg like over a mirror or something and it made it look like he was like hovering on a broomstick, but he was really like riding a skateboard on the other side, but the mirror he had all the way down and it looked just like he was like riding like a witch on a
oh,
broomstick.
that's
I mean, it could
rad.
be something that easy, you know?
Yeah, I mean, like, there's all kinds of techniques they could be using, but I mean, just look at this. Like, this looks, I mean, it looks so good. Like, it looks like they're riding on these like hovering
So cool.
bikes in the desert. Like, it's like, you know, again, I don't see any like in Star Wars when you get the speeders, you definitely see the matte lines and things like that, and you just don't see any of that on the Mandalorian. It's like just so clean and really excellent in terms of the way it's
The
presented
shadows are
and stuff like
perfect.
that. Yeah, the shadows are really perfect. Yeah, you're right. And then they encounter the train finally, and they just like every other Western train heist thing, but like you know, again in that Star Wars style,
Mhm.
they hijack the train and they manage to overtake it. Not without struggle, though. That all the Pikes who we first, I think we first see in the movie Solo. I mean, we've seen them around, but like I think we first get more of them in Solo when we go to the Kessel, to the spice mines of Kessel and see these characters there. But they're badass looking. I like their masks.
Yeah.
Yeah, they look pretty cool too. But yeah, they're like you know they're doing all these fights and we get like a lot of cool action sequences. And again, just edited beautifully. Like it all flowed like if it was in real time. You know what I mean? Like it didn't feel the editing was just so smooth and like so good. Like everything just felt like really it flowed really well. Like it's just beautifully edited, and it's like they knew like obviously like the train, you know, it's partially CGI and partially a set, and you know like again they're probably using this AR wall now rather than a blue screen, but like overall it's just like it's just so wonderful. I
I
thought
don't know.
this
I'm
was a great
completely on
series.
board 100%. And like until you bring this stuff up, I just I just
You never even
imagine the
think that it's an
scene is
effect,
shot
right?
in the
Yeah, yeah.
desert on this train. You know, it completely. I buy into all of it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just superbly done. It's just beautifully planned out, and everything like is really good. Even here, like you see the wreckage of the train. That might be an add-on. Like the way things go today, it's like you can't even, like this might not be practical. This might be the only practical part here, and all of this might be like a CG add-on or something like that. But
Yeah.
just looks so good and so real, like so big, like cinematic. Like they built
Hmm.
this thing.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. So here Boba Fett basically has the train is a victory in and of itself because they're going to get the cargo and everything like that. But there's another victory, and this is kind of like the first indicator of where I think the show's going. Blue was mentioning, I agree with what you said last night, and I think I know what you're talking about, Blue. Um, but I think this is an indicator of where the show is going. So we have like this guy who lost his father, became a ruthless bounty hunter, did a lot of bad things in his life, had some kind of epiphany with when he teamed up with, post Sarlacc
Malone.
and what's that?
Malone. No, I'm just
Post Malone, yeah, I
teamed up.
get it. Teamed up with Post Malone. He teamed up post Sarlacc with these Tuscans who initially took him prisoner, but then ended up being like tender to him when he showed kindness, and so he's like kind of like I think he's kind of like in a weird way. I forget who it was in our chat last night. They were describing how like he was born on an ocean planet, which is Camino, like he was born there as a clone, but then he was reborn from the Sarlacc, where he was meant to die, and he was reborn on this desert planet now. And so he's kind of taken on these people as his own. And so I think that's where this is
What
going.
a
We
cool
don't,
contrast.
yeah, it's a really
You
cool
know. Yeah.
contrast. A lot of elements, I know you said you didn't watch Dune, but a lot of elements in Star Wars are taken from Dune, so you don't actually have to watch it. But this is one of the most obvious ones, I think, which is the whole desert power thing, like harnessing helping the indigenous people of this planet take back their planet in a sense, and then also like harnessing their power. Like they know the desert, they know how it works, they know how to find these like sources of water, like things that like outsiders and invaders wouldn't necessarily know. So it's an interesting idea, and also just again like you know. Interesting that Star Wars that never really did this kind of thing is like taking on these like very like in a good way, I think, in a way that's like it seems natural to storytelling, but these very like relevant, current affairs or current, like things that are problems in the real world, and bringing them through allegory into the Star Wars universe. So I think that's what we're gonna start seeing in Mandalorian with this storyline.
Yeah.
And then we get this cool vision quest sequence. There are many different Tuscan tribes, and he presents him with this like lizard that goes up his nose and
He
makes
took
him.
that really well, by the way.
Yeah, yeah. I would not.
He's
I
like,
would
"Oh,
have
I see.
like.
I swallowed it," or something.
Yeah,
He said, "I'd be like, what the fuck?"
yeah. That thing you didn't swallow it, Boba Fett. That thing went up your
Yeah.
nose. Like, yeah, it's really gross. But yeah, he goes on this vision quest, and he like sees like an ocean and two trees and like a bunch of red eyes, and he gets caught in the roots just like he was in the Sarlacc, and he breaks through, and then he gets this his own branch that he's gonna make, that apparently he's gonna present, and this is like an honor, I guess. Like what's cool about this is what every Tuscan warrior must go through. It's like the rite of passage to become a full member of the tribe or the warriors, and what is this episode called? The Tribes of Tatooine. I think yeah, the
Sure.
episode 2 is called either the Tribes of Tatooine or the Many Tribes of Tatooine. I can't remember. The first episode is called the first chapter. They do them just like a Mandalorian, in chapters, but the first chapter is called Stranger in a Strange
Yeah.
Land, and then this one is called the Tribes of Tatooine. And so we do get the different tribes. We have like the Huts, we get the Tuscans, and then these other off-worlders that have established themselves in Mos Espa in on Tatooine. But anyways, yeah, so he goes through this vision quest. He goes out, he grabs his branch. Um,
Do you think he was tutored a bit, like on like what was going on? Like he really did take it really well, and he seemed to know, like bringing back the branch and everything, like he knew what he was supposed to do ahead of time, or
I think that's what the lizard did, is that it like
kind of just guided him.
it guided him,
Yeah.
like, because he even
Okay.
says, the elder says, like, you've been a good guide for us, like guiding us into
Okay.
kind of like, I guess in a way he's guiding them out of this like state of fear where they feel like they have to hide all the time and just be like raiders and stuff like that, and giving them the confidence to be like a legit tribe and like to own, this is their land, the Dune Sea is theirs, and like people have to pay them taxes,
Right.
to go through, and all, it's very interesting. So he's guiding them into like a more modern era, maybe, or another chapter of their lives or whatever, and then they give him the gift of guiding him to being one of them.
I forget if we talked about this, but did you ever read? I think it's called "From a Certain Point of View." Star Wars from a certain point of view, where it's
No,
like
no,
it's a bunch of short stories written by fans, like Will Wheaton and stuff wrote one.
really.
Yeah, it's really really good. But they this that's I feel like a lot of this is taken like inspired by that, because they'll have like one story will be about Tuscan, like a Tuscan raider, one story will be about a Jawa, and just like
Okay.
and they sort of give personality and like
Do you remember
um
what Will Wheaton wrote about?
I forget which one was his.
That's okay. We'll look it up later, but
Yeah,
we'll have it
I
by the
have
next
the
episode.
I listened to the audiobook, which is really cool.
Oh, okay.
I actually would say if you're gonna
To
read
to
it,
do it, to go the
go
audiobook.
audiobook. Yeah,
All right, cool. I will. I'll check it out.
yeah. But it's really neat because it just kind of looks into it. Just gives you kind of like, well, what this is doing. My dad actually got me into that book, and that was when he watched The Mandalorian. That was the first thing he said about that. He's like, oh, I
Oh,
feel like
okay.
this is a show that's like
Like
that
those
book.
books or
Yeah,
that
yeah.
book, right? We get another cool little flashback to Camino, and we see Boba would be left under the care of the Kaminoans while Django went off and did his business. And this is likely the mission he. I think this might be showing him leaving for Coruscant when he and Zam Wessel try to kill Padme Amidala. So I think that's what we're seeing here, is like Boba being left alone while just like that idea of like he really loved his dad. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's cool
Yeah.
that he
It's a
is
beautiful
having
shot.
these memories. Yeah, it is
Yeah.
a beautiful shot, and to see the ship that we can no longer call Slave One uh, going off in the
Mhm.
background, which is cool.
Oh, has that been is that not a thing
Yeah, I
now?
think Disney's no longer referring to
Okay.
it as Slave One. Slave One, they're referring to it as just Boba Fett's ship
Yeah,
or
that's
Jango Fett's ship.
that's
Yeah,
that's for the better.
I guess so. I don't think there's. I think contextually, there's a good reason why it was called that. And so I think it's a little overreactive, but
Eh,
I feel like in the legends or whatever, it's because it has
if
something to
it's
do with.
something so minor that if it bothered anybody, I would say, hey,
Yeah, I don't think anyone
we
cares.
don't have
They're
to.
just
Yeah,
not naming it anymore, but I
yeah.
think it's still, you could still call it Slave One in your mind if you
I
want
mean,
to.
there's
I
certain
guess it's
things that
fine.
I feel like I initially was like, it's like, well, I think we're overreacting with that a little bit. But then I'm like, well, because I'm not bothered by it. If there's a
Yeah.
reason that triggers somebody, then maybe we're better
Yeah,
off just
overall,
not doing.
it,
Yeah,
it doesn't like
it
diminish the
doesn't do anything.
story.
Yeah,
Yeah, it doesn't do
exactly.
anything to diminish the story. It's true. And here we have our Boba Fett in his Tuscan um, raiment, in his Tuscan outfit here. He looks badass. I
It
love it.
looks
It's pretty
awesome.
cool. Yeah. I guess like I don't know. He doesn't have that mask, but that's all right because I think that that adds to
Were you waiting for
the
a mask?
mystery of the Tuscans. What's that?
Were you waiting for a mask?
I didn't think he would have one because in the Mandalorian he never had one, right?
Well, but how cool would it be if? Well, I guess he would have shown up with that in the Mandalorian before he got his.
Because he was already in this
Yeah, you're
outfit
right.
in the Mandalorian, right? Like
Yeah,
he was wearing this with the he had his Gaddafi stick, and
I
yeah.
still think it would have been awesome if he got a mask.
But who knows? Maybe Tuscans have a certain physiology that fits in those masks that humanoids can wear. So who knows? We'll find out. But I love this shot next where they're they're forging his Gaddafi stick because do you remember the Ralph McQuarrie artwork of the Tuscans? Here, I'll
Mm,
pull it up for you.
no.
Um,
Is that the artist that does like the art for the shows?
the so Ralph McQuarrie is like a famous concept artist. Uh, he's done work for like Star Wars, Star Trek, like a bunch of
Okay.
films. But his artwork is the most like iconic for Star Wars. Like almost everything he did, like um, as far as the concept artwork goes.
Is he still with it?
Um,
Is he still alive?
I think Ralph McQuarrie passed
Okay.
away, if I'm not mistaken. I have to look it up, but
Whoever does the art at the end of like the episodes,
oh, that would be. I think
I
that's Doug Chang or someone. I'm not
okay,
sure, but like he's
very
very. A
cool.
lot of artists, a lot of concept artists are influenced by Ralph McQuarrie. So, that could be why it looks so. Here, I found the image. I'm just gonna share it here. Share screen, and we'll go over here. Um, 1 second. Window. Okay, here we go. So here's the image um, that Ralph McQuarrie drew, the concept image of the Tusken Raiders and the Banthas, which look different. They look more like pig
Yeah.
horses here, I guess, or rams and they're very wild looking here. But anyways, you see this like cool hull wreckage or whatever, right?
Mhm.
So like I love that the show basically recreated that whole look with oh, why am I can't open this thing? Sorry, slow. See?
Oh
It's like,
yeah,
isn't it cool? It's like it's like almost exactly the same
that
thing,
is
and you
cool.
you even have a Tuscan in the foreground, like, and another one in the background. There's no bantha in this shot, but it's a little bit different with the it's a little bit bigger of a set, but yeah, that was a really neat like moment. I immediately recognized that shot as
I
a
love that this
where it's
conversation
at.
started tonight with like my knowledge of Star Wars isn't really that.
I
You know,
go, I no, I swear to you. I mean, I have some like
you're
definitely the
pointing out
art.
like concept art, like how
Well,
it's
that's
like.
where, yeah, that's like when it comes to the original trilogy, I was like so immersed as a kid. Like I definitely like have a lot of like trivial and like extra knowledge about that. But it's just like the expanded universe that I don't know a lot about. So anything I've said about the expanded universe off the top of my head was because I learned it all like last night. I pre-gamed like last night. So yeah, but yeah, that was like a really great moment. And then here he is holding his Gaddafi stick, which is a badass looking
Yeah, it's
thing. I
cool.
kind of hope next time I go to the Star Wars theme park at Disney that they sell these things because they're kind of awesome. Like I hope they make replicas of them.
He really put some cool detail into it too.
Yeah, he sure did.
He didn't half-ass his stick.
No, he did not. He did not have pass his stick. It is a really badass looking
Yeah.
stick. And then finally we have the like kind of induction ceremony where they all dance around a fire, and again very similar to like the tribal dances that we see both here in the United States and also other indigenous peoples around the world, and just like a classic human scene because like it was very cool. But like I love that like it ended with that little ceremony, and that's it. We have the end of the Book of Boba Fett, chapter 2.
Now I can't wait till the next one. What are we
I know.
doing? Two at a time?
We could do two at a time, or we could do one. It just depends on your
Yeah.
schedule. I leave it up to you. I think we could, if the audience wants to see us here, same time. I think this is a good time. Saturday evenings, right?
I
Like
think
I think it's a good
two at a
time.
time because next week I'm gonna have to Saturday night I might not be here.
Oh, okay.
Um and I think this will work out starting tonight because I with my girlfriend like I do one weekend at her house, she does weekend at my house. So I think it'll work out where if I don't, then we could do two more the week after.
Okay, cool. So we'll do it every other week. That's cool. I like that
Yeah.
schedule. All right, so we'll definitely do that. Any speculation as to what's ahead, or any hopes? Like, what do you want to see from the show?
No, I'm just kind of letting it ride. Like I don't know what to expect. I don't know what's coming. I don't really have any predictions. Do you? What are you thinking?
I heard a wild rumor. A friend of mine mentioned it, and I kind of like the idea of it. Just like Mandalorian had like baby Grogu and was able to tie in like Luke Skywalker in a very clever way. I am guessing that we are going to see at least Chewbacca on this series, especially with the introduction of that Wookiee warrior guy.
Yeah.
Like I have a
Okay.
feeling like who else could take that guy other than Chewie, right? Like that would be an awesome thing. And
That
I
would be
think
cool.
there's a precedent because that character battles. Father was pointing out last night that that character battles Chewie in the comic books, and that like it's a badass like fight or whatever.
Oh.
So I wonder if that's going to come from the comics directly into the Boba Fett series. And my wild guess is that the wildest rumor I've heard, and like the one I like a lot, is that Han Solo will also appear on the Book of Boba Fett.
Now,
And
would
it
we get what Han? No.
well, it would be a little older than Return of the Jedi, so it would probably be just like how Luke was done digitally. They'd have to do a digital Han Solo, but like Harrison Ford could voice the character or whatever. I think Han's not going to be. I think Chewie for sure. Chewie, I have a lot
I
more.
wouldn't hold our breath on that one.
But if we do get Han, it would be interesting because remember he and Boba Fett have beef, and so also there's a bounty on Han's head that Jabba put on his head. So now Boba has that bounty. So it'd be interesting if Boba Fett like lets the bounty like he's just like basically like okay, you know, there's no more bounty on your head, and kind of like ends that like wraps up
Wow,
that little
that's actually
storyline.
not that crazy.
That's not crazy, right? Like it kind of like
Yeah.
could happen, and then Han's like, "Well, you're not so bad after all," or something like that, because he could easily like, you know, he already inadvertently killed Boba when Boba Fett he knocks into him and he like that's
I
why he
think
launches
Harrison
it.
Ford would show up for that paycheck. Just
You
for,
think? I mean, I think Harrison Ford would show up for a Star Wars paycheck.
yeah.
He doesn't really like. He's not fond of Star Wars. He's more fond of Indiana Jones,
Well, yeah,
apparently.
that's why
But
I said paycheck instead of like he'd be
like, yeah,
totally game.
totally game to it. But right, you could kind of see some. There's at least like a reason for him to come back. But yeah,
Yeah.
who knows? That's just the wild. That's like my wild kind of theory about it.
Those are good. I like that more than let's try to get another Grogu. Like I don't want any of that. Not that I don't love Grogu,
Right,
but
right, right.
I don't want the embarrassment of trying to match the magic of Grogu.
Yeah,
Like
and
I
I
would
don't think they're
feel
gonna go in
embarrassed
that
for
direct. Yeah, I
the
don't think they're
show.
gonna
Yeah,
go in that direction at all. They're not gonna have like that kind of vibe at all.
yeah. Um, I like that. You know what? I am gonna hold my breath. If that doesn't happen, damn it.
Well, I mean, it's just a wild theory,
No,
so who
I know.
knows? Um,
The
Kevin,
Chewbacca thing
this
would be very cool.
yeah, Chewbacca. I hope happens. You know, because Chewie can be running around without Han. He doesn't have to. You know, he doesn't have to be like with Han all
Yeah,
the
we don't
time.
know.
But
We don't know what happened.
and you don't need Han there for Boba to release Han's bounty either. You know what I mean? Like
Because like Chewie wouldn't have been around that whole time. Like Han and Leia had,
right, they're having a
it's not like
kid.
it's
Yeah,
not like
Chewie might. Yeah,
he's
exactly.
got his
Around
own
this time.
adventures. Yeah,
Yeah, I wonder if Kylo. I guess Kylo's gonna be born soon, or if he's not born already. You know, like there's all kinds of there's like all kinds of ways Han and could appear, but definitely Chewie. I think Chewie. Like my bets are on Chewie for sure. So yeah, that's
yeah,
my
that's
speculation.
cool.
It's not my idea, but I think I agree with that speculation.
I like it.
Well, Kevin, thank you for joining me.
Yeah, it's
It was
good
so
to
much
be
fun. Just
back doing this.
yeah,
I'm
and
excited.
we had a little bit of an audience. So, audience, thank you for
Yeah.
joining us and staying with us this whole time. We really appreciated your comments, and we'll see you again in 2 weeks from
Yep.
now. So we'll wait for another two chapters, and we'll do one of these like more in-depth discussions. I'll have better
That'll be cool.
screenshot
There's eight
technology.
8 episodes, so we'll have a 4-part.
A four-part series. Yeah, I
Yeah.
like waiting 2 episodes at a time. So,
Yeah.
all right. Well, I'll see you later, audience. And we usually sign off with "Live long and prosper" for Star Wars, but we'll just sign off with "May the Force be with you" on this show. So, may the Force be with you, everybody.
May the force be with you.